You start, baby.
Okay. Welcome to the EndSeen podcast. I am Shannon. I'm here joined with Leah and Mark. And we're going to talk about David Lynch. We're going to talk about surrealism. We're going to talk about Eraserhead. We're going to talk about so much stuff. So let's not waste time. Let's make haste. Where should we start? First, Lynch?
Well, we just watched Eraserhead. This is the context. Is how much Eraserhead have you seen? Sorry. Hello.
I mean, today was a big one for me, watching the first feature film of his that I've ever seen, and his first feature film. But I did see Twin Peaks, so it's not like I'm a complete virgin, so to speak. But how about you? How much of a Lynchian would you consider yourself?
Yeah, I just kind of got into David Lynch recently during COVID, but I saw Dune as a kid, didn't like it, and I haven't seen it again. And then I saw what's that one? Elephant Man as a real young child with my parents. And
Okay.
didn't think anything about it because I just thought this is a pretty normal ass movie, and I didn't like it either because I was a child. But yeah, I got into it recently. And so I consider myself a big David Lynch enjoyer.
Yeah, I feel like me and Mark have both seen the same amount of Lynch, but I got into it way late. I saw Mulholland Drive maybe first when I was 16, and then I got into the rest of it in 2020 in the pandemic. So I'm a recent fan in the grand scheme, but I've basically seen everything except for his weird short stories or short movies.
Early
now,
work?
So.
Is that earlier work?
I don't think so.
He kind of makes them the whole time.
He starts with Eraserhead, right? And so yeah, we just watched Eraserhead, and so this is we're fresh. We're still in the Lynchian zone. Shannon, what did you think of Eraserhead?
I mean, as a new parent, just a super awesome rule to live by. Don't leave the baby with the dad. It's an age-old story. I mean,
She just goes to bed and
yeah. The whole time I was just thinking about where the girl was. Where's Mary? Where's Mary? But yeah, no, interesting, fun. Actually, I had fun watching it. I don't know if other people would say the same, but it was,
I would say to the viewers at home, you're gonna have a lot of fun watching this movie.
Yeah, it's
at
a hoot
home.
and a half.
Definitely on a date night or with on family Christmas. You can watch it with your family.
Yes.
At home and have a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Tell us about it.
Mark, how was your second time viewing
This is my second time
Eraserhead?
watching Eraserhead. I actually saw a bit of it when I was a kid because we had it on DVD
As a
or
kid?
VHS because my dad bought it.
Who bought this on DVD
My
in
dad
your
bought it.
household?
And I remember watching it and being too scary. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
So I watched it as an adult recently, and I fell asleep during it. So I had to finish it later because I think I was just a little bit drunk. And so second time watching, I don't know. I had no other takeaways from it. To me, it's not a super deep movie. It just it throws a lot at the wall visuals wise, but the themes to me are pretty cut and dry.
There's things thrown at the wall.
Things thrown at the wall. Yeah, there's literal some sort of embryo.
Mind you, Lynch claims this is his most spiritual film. So
It's probably because it's the only movie that's about him, something he experienced.
is he the baby or the dad in this scenario?
He's definitely the dad.
Oh, yeah. My
He
theory
has children, so I don't know.
he based it on a nightmare. Either his wife, he was having a kid, or he was getting an abortion or something, and this was a dream he had. That wouldn't shock me at all if that's what happened.
It's bringing the subconscious forward because a lot of people have those thoughts, especially new parents. So as weird and abstract as it might seem, just viewing it without looking at the influences or maybe some of the reasons or feelings behind it would just be very confusing and random. But when you think about in the context of subconscious things being brought forward, it speaks.
Which is a motif in almost everything he does, is also where he gets his ideas from often is transcendental meditation. He tries to get to the space to catch the big fish for an idea. And then I'm sure he gets stuff from his dreams. So either way, he's getting it from like the recesses of his brains and his brains, plural. And just like, I feel like it's relatable to like the human psyche as well, if I may.
When you're talking about like the transcendental meditation too, it makes me think of like the use of sound design and like how that can play a part in like capturing attention, but also kind of like lulling people into like I don't know, a certain space.
That the transcendental meditation thing is the only thing I don't like about David Lynch. I think he's a total hawkster. I think he's a total bullshitter.
Bullshit. That whole thing about meditation was bullshit.
No, it's not the thing about meditation that's bullshit. Is that he sells like $500 courses to like teach you how to fucking like manifest, and I'm like, fuck off.
That's
man.
every
like,
meditation.
Like, so you made
guy.
it us wait too long for something to happen in your movie, and you called it meditation.
Yeah.
So we were like focused, like just waiting for something.
Maybe
but, I
you'd
mean,
be
like,
more
it's
patient.
It's kind of like religion. It's like, oh yeah, there's cool concepts in there, but it's like, I don't like the guy leading it. Like what he's doing is like kind of weird. I don't know. It's a strange thing that he does. That's like I just. It's not that I don't believe in whatever the fuck he's talking about. Like I actually have no opinions on it, but I just think that he's a hawkster about that. He was. Sorry, I would say he was.
Yeah, it's weird that he made it such a big deal. Like I feel like
he pushed it on people. It was, it's kind of strange.
Actually, that was one of the things he was doing after, because his last movie was. We need a Googler. His last movie was Inland Empire, and I feel like that was like 2013 or something. So like a long period has elapsed since he's done like a real like feature film, and we were like, well, what was he doing that whole time? And like if you haven't listened to his music, listen to his music. His music is sick. But I think he was doing his little meditation seminars. He was going around and being like, come with me, yo.
Yeah, there's more money in that than anything else he was doing. He was like, he was hawking.
You already have a following at that point. It's
yeah,
like,
you can do whatever you want. It's like, you want to be like me?
Yeah, makes sense. That's the technique, and I would have done the same.
Well, good for him. He was probably happier than me. Okay.
Okay, so Eraserhead, what were your thoughts? You,
okay. I watched it in 2020, which was a very like liminal. It was a Lynchian time, if you will.
I agree.
And so it was a perfect time for me. I'd probably watch it off of my laptop, and he would have been mad at me. I was probably like half paying attention to it, and then being like, "Whoa, what the?" And then I think I watched it again to show my bestie, and then this is the third time now. The whole point of the movie is the lady in the radiator. Like that's like stayed with me. Like I find with Lynch, it's just like it's like torturous a little bit to get through in real time. Watching his movie, you're like and then like the imagery stays with you forever. Like forever, you'll have like the song stuck in your head, or like just the image. So I like that had a profound effect on me. But the third time around, it was nice to chat over it with my friends, and we actually set the TV to the brightness setting he suggests, which he says that the TVs from the store have like the highest brightness setting possible, just like as the factory default in the showrooms to like catch your eye. But his movies are all very dark, and like the contrast is like a big deal for him. So he says to turn your brightness way down if you're gonna watch that at home, and don't watch it on your laptop or your telephone, as he would say. Not a vibe. I don't know. It was cool. I didn't get any deeper meanings though. Like it just still doesn't mean anything except for like the like
obvious.
Yeah, like the fear of pregnancy. Yeah,
and never have a child.
And there isn't meaning at all.
Always wear protection.
Don't cut the dressings.
Control or
don't cut the dressings yourself.
Oh my god! Did you know that he wanted
wound care?
Sorry guys, I need to interrupt this with. Did you know that he wanted to direct a pregnancy test commercial, and like he creeped them out with his like idea, and they didn't let him.
Because it would have made me never want to have a baby.
Yeah, but they were like, David, why are you drawn to this? Unless someone made that up on the internet, but that's something I read.
It sounds like one of those things that I'll just willfully believe.
Kind of seems on brand.
It sounds like him. So, anyways, maybe that happened. Anything else we want to say about Eraserhead before we go on to his other stuff?
I liked some of the stuff that you were saying, that you were drawn to, and it just kind of speaks to the simplicity. Like you say that the songs get stuck in your head, and like the imagery stays with you. It's because a lot of it is like simplified. I think in like a lot of the media that we consume, nowadays it's very flashy, in your face, quick. There's a lot of uncomfortable, drawn out moments in Eraserhead that, like, I don't know, they do stay with you because it reminds you of those moments in real life, maybe.
So true.
Yeah.
Okay. On to the next one.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about your guys' favorite and least favorite. I can't really speak too much to that, having only seen Twin Peaks and now Eraserhead, but I'm curious. I wanna know more about favorites and least favorites.
Okay, I guess me and Leah have the same favorite movie.
Oh,
Right. Lost Highway is my favorite movie, and then my second would be Mulholland Drive. Lost Highway for me, I've seen this movie 12 times, and I've only finished it twice because I would put it on to just go to sleep. But it's a very eerie movie.
I love going to sleep.
And it's I don't know, like it's challenging.
Like Lynch, but also the lesbian movies are good ones to fall asleep.
They're awesome.
Yeah, he's got like a monotonous kind of like lullingness to all his movies, so I can see
they're
it.
worth like they're a commitment, but like if you just want to have something that like is comforting in a way that like it's I don't know, they're not comforting.
Yeah, if you're a freak, maybe they yeah.
But Lost Highway, I don't know. For one, it's just like he's got this goofiness in his movies that he can somehow make scary. And that one is the most goofy and most scary. Like the villain who shows up, or like not the villain, but like you're like, that's the freakiest little guy I've ever seen.
And he's
what he says
talking
is
to
so
you
scary.
and in your house right now.
Yeah, and he's like, I sent you a video, and it's like him filming you in his house. Like the whole thing is
actually
very eerie.
Scary. Yeah.
And I also just appreciate how hot Patricia Arquette is in that movie. And she plays two characters, and she's hot as fuck.
And she's hot as both of them.
Oh my god, it's just incredible. And yeah, I just like how some of the themes are quite present, and you go, oh, okay, like, and the plot, you can kind of understand it pretty well when you watch it, but then it's one of those movies, unlike his other stuff, where at the end you just go, oh fuck, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. Like,
you weren't sure. Yeah. Unlike his other ones.
Yeah,
you're
I feel
with
like,
the rest of them.
Well, yeah, I feel like there's more themes to pick out. Like, I feel like once I got the plot of Lost Highway, and then like, oh, okay, that's what it's about. It's about like a guy who murders his wife, and like he can accept that fact, and he goes into like this weird fucking dissociative state or whatever. Right. But then at the end, where I was like, the house burning down, and like I led your other persona to the house. I was like, I don't know what any of that means, but it's all very I don't know. I didn't look into it too far. I've only seen it. Okay. I've only finished it twice.
Yeah.
But that's
I don't think it was
aesthetic quality, and I just thought, I don't know. It's to me has the best pacing and the least amount of like awkward shots. It's quite cinematographically beautiful. For like,
I feel like it's less painful to watch than the rest of them.
Yeah,
which I appreciate about him, but yeah,
it reminds me quite like of production value as well, of like Eraserhead. Like, oh, this was a very serious thing. In all his other stuff, he lets a lot of really unserious stuff in. Whereas like Lost Highway is only goofy in the what he makes scary. What he makes scary is goofy, which is like, that's what I also feel about like a lot of his stuff, is like, that's what I like about it. Like, he makes goofy stuff really scary, where you're like, oh, that is unsettling, because I did not want to see that.
Yeah.
Anyways, your turn to talk about Lost Highway.
Ditto all that. I think like Twin Peaks is the obvious answer for so many people, but if we're talking about like favorite movie, then yeah, Lost Highway, just for the vibe, for the sexiness, and for the little freak. I love the little freak. He was perfect. And
he was a murderer. Like, I killed someone and went to jail. Like, multiple people or something.
In real life?
In real life, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the guy he hired to be the little freak is a murderer and is in jail because he literally was a little freak, like an IRL little freak.
Oh my god.
Perfect casting.
Yeah,
wow.
He nailed it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That scares me because I haven't seen that movie, but I've seen clips from it, and I know what the little man looks like.
He's also done this in Inland Empire and in Mulholland Drive, where like the things happening in the movie are like kind of happening in real life too, and like there's like a murder like scary thing coming, but it's like, is it in the movie or is it like
in the mind?
If you some of you guys at home might know, or I don't know if I'd suggest to watch Inland Empire if you're thinking about that. That's like the last one you can get to. It's his final one.
Don't start there.
Don't start at Inland Empire. Yeah. So anyways, is
that your least favorite?
Oh, actually no. Wild at Heart
Thank you.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you guys are going to be upset with me. It's
Use
just
a
like
few words to describe why it's the least favorite.
too bright, too daytime, too like love story, like Hollywood. It's almost like his most normal movie in that sense. And the story, I wasn't into the story. I was into the acting and the characters, like Willem Dafoe. Whoa,
That's a weird.
whoa.
That's a weird.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa, Dafoe.
And Nick Cage, like it's got it all there. I think that's what is pissing me off a little bit. It's like it's all there, but it just didn't deliver.
I expected so much because so many people on the internet are like, "That's my favorite David Lynch movie," and I watched it and I was like, the whole thing is about like my snakeskin jacket, like or whatever.
Freedom.
That's my personality, and it's just like it's like, oh, I get it. It's like funny if it's a funny movie if you go into it for comedy. But I just didn't like it. I found it. It's also my least favorite one. Blue Velvet is really close but it's also eerie and kind of weird, but. Wild at Heart is too over the top and too it's too much of like a love story about a bad boy and blah blah blah. And I just found it funny kind of near the end, and that was about it. That was the only like redeeming qualities. It was pretty funny near the end, and the ending was hilarious.
I didn't like the ending.
I thought that was the only good part when the movie stopped and I could go to bed.
I loved when it ended.
I don't know what I liked, but I just
EndSeen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally, it's over.
What did you not like about Blue Velvet?
I found it really slow, and there was just a lot of parts that just weren't interesting, and so much musical elements that I don't think he did as well as other things. And I don't know. Yeah, Blue Velvet to me just like wasn't surreal either. It was just like, oh, this is like a weird crime drama that I watched.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it just
Didn't know
made
what to
you
think
feel
about it. It just felt
perverted.
but I mean, like I guess that's par for the course. I just like his surreal,
Me too.
existential stuff more.
Sames.
Really good discourse going on here, guys.
Okay, what would your like order be if you were like introducing someone to Lynch, and like what's the first one you'd show them, second one, and then I guess we've already talked about last one is probably Inland Empire, right?
Empire
and then like we haven't seen his short films, so maybe
I would say like I'd probably start with Twin Peaks. Like, because Twin Peaks is like it's accessible national TV type programming.
We've already talked about how it's like so widely like accepted among several demographics.
Yeah, and it's just it's a soap opera. It's a police procedural, and then eventually it turns into a nightmare television show about all these terrible things that happen in society. And but before that it hooks you.
It does get people interested.
His other stuff doesn't hook you. His other stuff is just you have to be along for the ride and know you're watching a David Lynch film
and accept it
and
from
commit
the start.
to it. Whereas like Twin Peaks like can trick people into like
thinking it's normal.
True.
Yeah.
I would just say like, oh my God, if someone told me to get into a director by like a TV show first, like asking them to watch like that many
that's a lot.
It
you
only
can
takes
watch one episode.
3 or 4 episodes to get in, but that is also
it's bingeable.
It's
highly
like 4
bingeable.
episodes,
Okay,
4
if it had
hours.
to be a movie though, what's the next movie?
Oh, the movie, I guess it would be Lost Highway. Because I also just think that it's the most well-made horror movie. It looks like a horror movie, feels like a horror movie the whole time. A lot of his stuff is just very strange. Mulholland Drive kind of hops back and forth between... I think Mulholland Drive is my second favorite of his movies, but it hops back and forth between being a really lighthearted kind of like movie about an actress, and then it jumps back and forth, and I find that jarring. He doesn't do that as well as Twin Peaks.
I think that's how you should introduce David Lynch, though, more than Lost Highway. Even though that's my favorite, I think that Mulholland Drive is more like, here's a Lynch movie
intro.
And if you don't like it,
so
then
you
maybe
like the way
you
it
won't like
hops
him.
between, and you think that introduces you well.
Yeah,
it gives you an idea of what to expect for future experiences, for future watching. You know that like you have to be prepared to like. I keep wanting to say time hop, but it's more just like mind hop.
That's pretty.
It happens in Twin Peaks too. If you got through Twin Peaks,
I know
those are gonna happen.
Like, it's like mind hopping.
Agree. I know exactly what you mean.
No, that is the plot of all of these.
All right. So in a nutshell, like if you were to like use a couple descriptive words to describe like the visuals, the feelings that you get when you watch his like work, what would you like, what are some descriptive words of David Lynch?
I feel like the obvious one is surreal. It's a surrealist type of art style. And I also like I was like a Letterboxd review or something, used the term dream logic. And I think that's like the most apt description of him ever is like, yeah, waking up and being like, wow, that made sense when I was in the dream. And now like, what the heck was that?
The unconscious mind.
Okay, so I have said multiple times that like doing or watching David Lynch is like having Whippet revelations. You do a Whippet and you're like, oh yeah, that was a good thought, and then 5 seconds later you're like, fuck, what was it?
I have never had a good thought on Whippet.
No, me and Niall be like, oh yeah, like you learn some secrets, and then the moment you're like
secrets about the universe.
Yeah, so like when you're watching
forget
David
it.
Lynch stuff, you're like, I'm picking up on themes. I'm getting what this is saying.
getting
And then
it.
5 minutes
You're
later,
trying
you're
to
like, what
explain
the
it,
fuck?
you're
was I
like,
thinking of?
oh, I think-
when you wake up from a dream and you just forget about it.
I understand in a ketamine way.
Yeah, it's very similar. Very similar. If like dissociative experience of like you get this revelation and then you come out of your trip and you're like, ah, fuck, what was it?
Dissociative.
Download this
And David Lynch
information.
was
Dissociative
famous
is the
for
word we're
forgetting
looking
a memory.
for those who haven't done drugs.
Forgetting a good idea. David Lynch
Yeah.
is famous for this.
Yeah.
But that's what your
Next
movies
time
and
you do
movies
Whippets,
done did
make
that.
sure you got your voice notes out.
What more do you have to say about David Lynch in a nutshell?
What words are coming to your mind?
Yeah, I like, subconscious and like, bringing things forward that like make people question their morals. So like morality in a weird way.
The bigger themes for him, for sure, morality, like good and evil, like trauma and suffering. It's fun, guys. We promise.
And then also ghosts.
Like the
Throw in a
split.
healthy
I feel
dose
like
of ghosts.
another word I'd use is Jungian for any like heads out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got I guess we already alluded to like subconscious, but also like his like his shadow side. Like there's like a shadow side that happens like in
Duality.
almost every, these are all kind of like silly, pretentious and abstract words. But if you can handle silly, pretentious or abstract, well, actually I wouldn't call them pretentious, but I think to be a Lynch fan, you kind of end up being like nauseating.
Yeah, you
a
end up
little bit.
annoying everybody you know.
Yeah.
Somebody's just like, I'm just trying to go watch fucking Sonic. Like, why
Yeah.
the fuck are you guys sitting here
Yeah, and they're like
talking
very
about-
What the
Lynchian.
fuck is Lynchian? Bitch, I'll kill you.
The Eggman becomes the egg. I don't know. I've never seen that.
Sorry. Either you get it or
Let's
I hope
talk
you get it one day.
Wait, I want to give.
Sorry. Oh yeah, your words.
words.
How I describe David Lynch in a nutshell, and it's so silly. This is my metaphor. You know, when you hear like, oh, like a techno, because we're all from the club scene here.
Okay, so this somehow relates to techno and whippets.
You know when
and
you hear
ketamine.
like a house
I love
song or a techno
sandwiches.
song that's like a real like, oh, this has a lot of stuff in it. It's a real chin scratcher, blah blah blah. It's like made to assign. They've assigned meaning. It's got a story, a narrative. But sometimes you hear like a club tool that's like stupid. And it's visceral, and that's how I think of David Lynch
goes.
music. David Lynch is like
like
throwing a
club
lot of the board, but
goes.
it's dumb and it's visceral, and it's like this
Shit
like
goes
raw,
dumb.
I don't know. It's weird, but it's like I don't know. It's intelligent stuff, but like how he approaches it is blunt. Like
blunt. He's
it's
blunt.
like I don't know.
That's a nice analogy.
I don't know. It's really weird because
For
it's
someone
hard, it's
like
weird to
me.
describe like a dream-like thing as being like blunt and dumb and visceral, but it's like that's what it makes me feel when I watch it. Like his movies are not horror movies, but they're scarier than anything I've ever seen. They make me
That
feel
is a
like
good
raw
explanation.
terror and suspense and thrills more than anything I've ever seen.
But in a way,
got
it's
this-
almost relieving that you get to see it because it's like, oh, these things that I try so hard to like repress and not let myself see is just there, and now it can just be there.
Yeah.
And I've seen it, and there's no going back now.
That
You
is
submit to it.
Yeah, you're along for the
totally.
ride. You lean into it.
This
it's
is
much
about
like ketamine.
submission. This is
And
about submission.
Film can just do that in general. I feel like sometimes, like what comes up in conversation for me a lot is like, what do we really need to put in a movie? Like, do we need incest in a movie and like
Yes.
long rape scenes and stuff? I thought you were gonna say yes again. But yes to incest. Okay. I'm just saying, like it gives you permission to watch something taboo
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, well, it's a movie and like this director is fucked up for putting it in there. It's not my fault that there's incest on screen or something, which isn't to say that the director likes incest or that you do, but it's just like, yeah, it's tapping into the like the forbidden subconscious taboo stuff in society and just being like, here is an instance of it.
And there's a lot of people out there that don't like search out media that like makes them feel that way, you know, like
Yeah.
Recently, I think that's healthy.
I don't.
You don't think so?
No, I think that
exposure therapy.
yeah, exactly. I think like in the mildest form possible, like
Yeah.
if you're at least a media literate
Depends
person
what we're
looking
talking
for
about.
intelligent things or things that like want to at least add to your life in a way, they should challenge you in a way. Like people who are just like, yeah, no, I just watch fucking action movies. I'm like,
Okay,
I don't know.
challenging
like,
in a
like, you gotta
way.
challenge yourself.
I'm not saying like type in on the internet.
Only
Right.
you have said that.
I'm just
No, I understand.
could go in
exactly
that
what you're
direction
saying.
by our logic.
It's true. Exposure therapy, it doesn't like, yeah, no, it's like in a healthy way that is also like artistically inclined and
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Has to be.
open to interpretation, of
And
course.
Also something, yeah, just like, and it's real life stuff. So it's not just like, oh, we like run from it in our everyday lives. Like he's often portraying just like violence that happens to women all the time. That's just like what they, or just not even violence, just like woman problems. Like
Yeah.
This is the world. This is what it's like to live like as a woman. So I don't know. I think it's like real. It's real. He's serving realness, if nothing else.
Well, I can't wait till y'all watch. We do the Ingmar Bergman episode because every single thing we talk about is literally.
I just want to
Bergman.
like point this out
It's
too.
the same guy.
Is like
It's the same guy.
in these really weird like scenes and like really weird rooms and really weird like there's so much mundane shit that you see, like them trying to like fall asleep in the bed in Eraserhead, like and like fighting over like how much space there is in the bed. Like that is such a normal fucking thing. And then you look over and there's like this mutant baby like gasping for air. And you're like, yeah, I'd probably be fighting with my wife about bed space as well. Like
Yeah.
it's interesting how it blends like surreal and the mundane experiences of life to just like fuck with you. Sorry.
Ditto.
No, I think that's literally what all of Twin Peaks is about.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this very mundane mixed with the surreal and the supernatural, and that's kind of his thing. Is smashing those two things together in like this weird low fantasy kind of way. Like this exists in the world, but it's like, what if it was all fucked up?
And that's kind of like reminiscent of like how we were talking earlier about like Uncanny Valley and how like there's so many things that look like normal, but like something about it just makes you feel like off, and how that's such a common thing in his works.
Yeah.
It just leaves you with this feeling.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it earlier. The fact that he has a lot of control over the sound effects and the weird, crappy little editing, those uncanny effects. Just love it when a guy gets full control over making like weird, freaky things.
So true.
Because that's my favorite part about these as well, is that they're very like real, but then also dreamlike.
Yeah.
And part of that is the practical effects and the sound effects that he does.
Yeah, it's like that human element is like added to it. Like everything now is, or I don't want to say everything now, but like most things now are so like overproduced. It's just like takes away that like human element. Yeah, I appreciated that about watching Eraserhead.
Yeah, it's like raw. It's his whole vision. Like he's really just like in every part of, you know, the casting, the cinematography, the sound, like the da-da-da. But also I feel like the sound is like, it's for in terms of like tone setting and like creeping into your subconscious while you're watching. So you're like watching the scene, but like this motor has been whirring this whole time, or like these puppies have been suckling or whatever he just put us through in Eraserhead. It's like, it's just this like constant like scratching at you, this like unease that just like is building and building and building. And then also sometimes like just like moments of like so much silence, and then like bah, like just the sound is so like whenever a song is playing, it's like 10 times louder, and like it's not because he doesn't know how to master. Like I really like think it's all deliberate and him just being Lynch.
No, it has more of an effect. That's what I was trying to say earlier about like how there's such like there's like only a couple songs or like, you know, like really strong visual elements. It's like those are meant to stay with you because there's such a lack of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all the dynamic. It's like you can't see the white without the black. So it's like when that thing comes in so much fucking louder, you're like.
And that's why his brand is so strong, is because his like imagery, it's like, yeah, it's reason like we were so obsessed with him on the Tumblr days. It's like just iconic imagery and like the motifs that like repeat throughout all his work. Like there's always like, well, not always, but often like the red curtains, the zigzag carpet, fire, so much fire all the time. The fire is coming. Oh my God, there's like a million, but like
There's lots of sparks. There's lots of moons. Those are
moons.
Twin Peaks in that space thing.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, I don't know what else. Lots of wood.
dark wood
Wood.
At least
in Twin Peaks for sure.
Tons. It's like all about the forest. Well, not all about it, but it's a lot of just imagery.
Yeah, lots of
Imagery
forest shots.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is fog one?
Probably.
Well, he's got a lot of smoke machine. I've noticed a lot of
Yeah,
smoke machine
but-
as practical effect. That's like a big one.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
practical effects. Well, is it just because we watched his like early, like his first one, or is it forever? I wish he would do more of it. I think because it's like, yeah, in terms of like iconic scenes and imagery, like all this like, yeah, when the baby's like coughing up all this like foamy puke stuff. It's like, how is he? It's in camera. Like, what is he using for that? I think fog is probably true, but I can't like pull it up in my mind
I'm
right
thinking
now.
about like, isn't it like that on Lost Highway that there's just like a lot
Oh.
of footage of like a foggy road,
There's lots of
and
foggy
then
roads.
in
Dark.
fucking
It's like in the
Twin Peaks,
headlights.
there's fog.
Fog everywhere. And then in Mulholland Drive, there's lots of fog on the road, and then when she dies, this room fills with smoke machine smoke. Sorry for spoiling this movie.
She dies.
She dies.
There's
done died.
someone dies.
I won't tell
in
you which
basically-
one.
yeah, she.
But she.
Yeah. Also, okay, wait. Can we just talk about? I was watching Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive again yesterday, and I had this revelation that they're like basically the same movie. Like,
pretty
just
similar.
like one is more sapphic and one is, yeah. But like in terms
Has
of
more
like
rock and roll music.
well, yeah.
Testosterone based.
Yeah, a little bit more testosterone, which is surprisingly the one I like better. But when I watched Mulholland Drive, I was like, how did I forget it was so gay? Like, what?
Yeah, it's super, super gay. It's because so that movie is like super, super, super inspired by Persona, and Persona is super lesbian and gay. It's super gay.
It is.
It's super gay.
Okay, I'll give it a chance.
That's the one that I would suggest to watch
Okay.
by this guy. A lot of his other movies are like you were saying, they're like, oh, there are a lot of like real life violence against women and like pretty hard to watch, I would say.
Yeah.
But Persona is an excellent movie that I would show any single person I've ever met.
Okay.
It's
I
amazing.
mean, it's one of the most revered. Like, it's
the
your
most-
director's
it's the
favorite
most
director's
beautiful-
favorite movie.
It's the most beautiful movie ever made. But it's literally almost the same plot as both of these movies,
Okay.
but especially Mulholland Drive. And it's just super lesbian and gay, and you can tell he just ripped it off.
Okay.
Is it similar time frame or is that a newer movie?
No, it's the 60s.
Oh, wow.
66. But it's this black and white
Persona.
movie that every single shot could be a photograph, and it's just like it's about very much the same thing as Mulholland Drive, and it's super gay.
If nothing else, I'm in it for the cinematography because that's like the whole point of movies to me is like a beautiful shot.
Yes, I agree. But this one, yeah,
I thought you were gonna
beautiful
say for the
shots-
gay
beautiful
shit.
shots
For
of
the
two girls
gay
kissing, which is
Okay. And that is a bonus.
My phone background. Wow.
But yeah, without giving any of those two away, I feel like he kind of just like they're like brother and sister movies. So watch them back to back.
Absolutely.
And
They're the
you'll
best
know what
ones.
I mean.
They're the best ones in my opinion. So good.
In conclusion, David Lynch was one of the most important directors of all time, if we may. So many of your favorite directors will credit him And even when he died, you saw how it hit the internet. He changed everyone's lives. There's a whole term called Lynchian. Who else has that? Maybe Kafka.
Franz Kafka, yeah.
Whatever. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Never heard of him. But
Anyways.
David Lynch, we will remember you forever, and you will live on through your art.
Prolific, truly. I feel like this was such a great way to start this podcast. Something that we can all connect on and grow with. And I look forward to you joining us for future episodes of EndSeen, where we will be discussing, dissecting, and consuming all sorts of media, movies, films to talk with y'all about. Thank you for joining us for our first episode of EndSeen. And R.I.P. David Lynch, but also welcome back in the form of this podcast.
No, sorry, we have to do another
I
take.
know.
I kind of like that.
I'm
It'll end with me being like, no.
no.
We have to do it.
No, I'm sorry. Cut.
Shannon, look away.
It's scissors and a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's scissors and a kid.
It's scissors and a kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No. That's fair. It's barely a kid.
This is what I expected to happen.
Yeah.
It's just perfectly natural.
Yeah. Totally. I'm just surprised it took this long to get here.
I want to chop that baby up like
As fuck.
No, he just did it. He just cut his hair, so he no longer Eraserhead.